So Alex, let's think about the process of the MOOC. What have we done? Why have we done it?
When did it all begin?
When did it all begin?
Okay. So the idea for a MOOC began about 4 years ago in about 2017, I think, when admittedly I had no idea what a MOOC involved. I'd never participated in a MOOC. I actually originally said that I would build 3 MOOCs. So thankfully someone guided me and we reduced that down to 1 MOOC. And this is for the RACOMS project. And so we won the funding and we just had that there would be a MOOC, not what it would be about or anything. So then iteratively, slowly, over about 2 years, I guess, we arrived at what the MOOC would be about and started building it. Then we changed our minds, much, I think, to the frustration of Angela Marigi, because she'd started helping us build it on a different subject. And then thankfully, wonderfully, we decided to do it on Careful Scholarship, which...
And why was that? Why was Careful Scholarship the final thing that worked?
I think so. I mean, we've already in other lessons introduced RACOMS about resourceful and resilient communities. But I think the idea of Careful Scholarship is actually, even without knowing it from the beginning, is a golden thread that's run all the way through. And particularly because of the nature of the 15 early stage researchers working with us who've featured in much of this MOOC, being really passionate and committed to trying to improve the situations for those people who need a lot of support, often because there's not support from institutions, and really passionate about working with people. And so I think that really came together, that there was probably sort of 5 of them at least that have used care theory actively in their work. But I think you can see care theory or the principles of care ethics running through, you know, most of their projects.
Yeah.
And so it's been a really lovely way to actually both work together with the fellows but many other people on developing this idea of actually how do you bring care theory into practice in academia, but also drawing on examples and reflections from their work, and the work of others. So it's been really a very happy point of the project, I think.
Yeah, and I definitely could see from what I've learned of the ESRs and the projects that there's, like you said, that golden thread that goes through, that there is a real sense of, they had a sense of belonging to the communities that they researched, and they connected with them, and that that was really quite beautiful, really, to see, and then to see that expressed in a theoretical way was interesting to me.
And then I think also connecting with where we've had a lot of interest in, like, co-creativity. I think that's mapped onto it really well. So so that's where we decided and kept with the Careful Scholarship MOOC. And then I think I didn't appreciate how massive a MOOC is when it comes to building a MOOC. And I think probably what made it even more massive in our case was Jingjing's, I'm going to say insistence, probably not a too strong a term, but Jingjing's encouragement stroke insistence that it should be a connectivist MOOC, which I think she's absolutely 100% right. That's what you need to really make this an experience of learning with and building together. And of course, there's only a tiny bit of knowledge and experience that we, the guest contributors, the conveners, can put into it. What we need is everyone else's, pluralities of knowledge and experience. But trying to then think about how do you build that into a course, has been challenging, hasn't it? It's been a learning experience with much thanks to people like Paul, who's been doing the technical build, for his never-ending patience, at least when he's in the calls with us, if not outside the calls, trying to figure out, without knowing maybe whether this will be, and still don't know whether this will be something that 20 students take or 20,000 students take or 200,000 students take. Like, how do you build in that connectivity that everybody can actually contribute to and build this course? And I think as a sort of slight, control freak sometimes, learning to try and control the controllables and think about, you know, what are the bits that we can manage and we can design and we can facilitate and support, and what are the bits that we just can't have any idea where they will go to. It's also it's terrifying, and it's really exciting to sort of think about. Hopefully some people will take on and expand the work and take it in different directions. So.
And I love the internet for that, because it does make the world smaller. So we've already connected with lots of people all over the world through the films and things that we've done, and now, you know, we seek to take it to the next level by connecting with everybody out there. And I think there's one of the lovely connections I think we mentioned. You mentioned Paul, who's looked after the technical side of things, but we've also had Larry, who's done all of the beautiful designs and illustrations, and with Paul's help, the colour schemes for each unit. And, you know, although he, like me, is not necessarily an academic, that connectivist part and him caring enough when we go, could you just redraw the links this way, or can you do the elephant again but without a rabbit sitting on top of it? And he's just been so gracious, and he's just kept producing all of these beautiful images, and, you know, it has been such a collective experience that way, hasn't it? Been
or
really
indeed,
nice.
I read this most amazing quote, can we have a peacock and a pig in it, please? And he doesn't even ask why, he just happily creates us a peacock and a pig. So,
I think being flexible is an important place to start. So I think the direction of the MOOC and even the topic of the MOOC has changed and been, like you say, through various iterations. So when I came on board, it was already going to be a careful MOOC, so I've missed the early stages of that. But I think, as we've discussed with some of the key video contributors, I think they've brought other things in that have made us think, oh, okay, what they've said has made us think differently about the questions that we want to ask the participants of the MOOC. So I think, you know, and enjoying it, actually, enjoying the experience, and trying not to get bogged down in the vastness of it. It can be like drowning.
So that's what I was going to say on the vastness, because I think the other thing would be, it's a bit like when you start a PhD and you think you're going to achieve so much, and then, you know, the more you go into it, the smaller what you're doing has to be, so that you can look in more depth. And I think maybe we started with so many things that we thought we could cover, and then, like you've just said, Lindy, that as you talk to people, new things come out and emerge, and they're really interesting as well. So I think it's like maybe also trying to start with a slightly smaller ambition than we maybe did, because, you know, I think now we really could have done 3 MOOCs. We couldn't. I think it would have killed us, and it would have killed Ben if we hadn't killed Ben, the cameraman. But I think it's just trying to. So it's like, I mean, looking to the future, I think there's other things I'd like to try and build sort of spin-off courses on and stuff.
And the joy of this being a connectivist MOOC is that however big or small we start, the hope is that it's going to grow now, and you know, we have planted a bunch of saplings, and it's up to the users to turn that into a forest.
Nice.
Thanks.